Hello, I'm back, but not really. Still very busy, but I wanted to do something, so today we will talk about, in my opinion, the best, easiest way to take down helicopters in this game, because there is actually a lot to talk about, a lot of misconceptions to clear up. What's the deal with helicopter health and the armor? Should you use RPGs or primary weapons? Does stopping power actually help? What about sonic boom? What about deep impact? I actually learned a lot while making this. I guess I could expand the video to cover countering all killstreaks in general, because, of course, there are only 3, and not much needs to be said about countering the UAV and Airstrike. In fact, I could cover them right now without wasting much time at all. To counter the UAV, you can run the UAV jammer perk, but do you really want to give up the stopping power or juggernaut advantage for that? Well, sometimes, maybe, but generally no. To counter the airstrike, first, if you have Juggernaut, you'll have a better chance at living. Otherwise, if you can hear it coming and find cover nearby, that'll help. And you can look at your minimap and see where the airstrike is flying by, and try to imagine the line that it is on, and try to run away from that line, or at least don't run into the line. I did that on purpose right here because I wanted the guy to earn his helicopter so I could shoot it down for this video. Alright, well, look at that. We've already covered the UAV and airstrike. Now it's time for the more important matter, the helicopter. I have this challenge completed here, Flyswatter, because whenever I make a challenge guide type thing, I like to show that I have some sort of experience earning it myself. I'm not just talking out of my ass. But in this case, I suppose it doesn't really matter because this challenge isn't difficult. Nobody's scratching their head wondering how they could possibly earn it. What's more important is that you know how to efficiently deal with enemy helicopters, because I've seen a lot of people doing and believing the wrong things, a lot of misconceptions out there, and that's usually what makes me want to make a video about something. That and suggestions. If you ever have a challenge or something you want me to cover, that gives me a good reason to do it. Anyway, you want to know how to deal with helicopters well, because they're the top score streak and they're only 7 kills to earn, which is not that difficult. A helicopter is not a rare sight. In fact, playing through an entire game without seeing a helicopter would be pretty rare. Let us dive into the inner workings of the helicopter and discover easy ways to take them down. I think you will find it is a lot easier than you might have thought. If I had a huge audience and this video was going to get 1 million views, I would be hesitant to talk about how easy it is to take down helicopters, because I wouldn't want every helicopter to go down every time one gets called in, but it's okay. Not anywhere near enough people will ever watch this to affect the metagame, so don't worry about that. The common mistake I most often see is people who use 2 RPGs to take out a helicopter, assuming that is the fastest or most consistent way to, and maybe after somebody tries that a few times, they give up on shooting down helicopters altogether and just decide it isn't worth their time to do that every time one gets called in, because the method of using 2 RPGs can get annoying. Maybe they come from a CoD where you've always had some sort of lock-on launcher to make things easy, but I'm gonna say that using 2 RPGs is one of the worst and most difficult ways to take out a helicopter. Time to lay out some numbers. The helicopter has 1100 health. That's it. Doesn't seem like much, right? Well, for the first 500 health of that 1100, the helicopter absorbs bullet damage, decreasing it by 70%. Think of it like an armor you have to take down first. I will point out that for some reason the CoD Wiki says it has 550 armor, and that makes sense because that's half the health, but every other source I could find has the default armor value as 500, so I'll go with that over what the wiki says. It also matches up better with my testing. If you want to express that 500 armor and 600 health as a total health number, you gotta take the inverse of 0.3 and multiply the 500, then add the 600 back, and you'll see that the helicopter effectively has more like 2266 health if you're shooting at it with regular guns. That does sound more threatening, but just think of shooting 23 people. That doesn't seem too difficult if you have the right weapon. And here's another fact: after that first 500 armor drops away and it is left with the 600 regular health, it will fly around and attack more quickly, taking evasive action and not hovering in the same place very much. It isn't much harder to hit with a gun when it's flying around, but much more annoying to hit with a second RPG, depending on how high up it is. And that depends mainly on the map. You likely have noticed that helicopters have a preset flight path for every map. They always hover in the same places. Like in Overgrown, there are a couple places where it hovers right next to the ground, one being over the creek pit, and then if nobody attacks it, it'll make its way over to hover right on top of the barnyard. You can practically jump up and touch it in those places. Helicopters can also be more annoying to hit based on which helicopter you're shooting at. If it's the Hind from a Spetsnaz or OP4 team, then it's big and bulky and provides an easier target. If it's the Cobra from the Marines or SAS, then it'll be a bit more annoying. At least I think so. Maybe there's more opinion than fact there, but I definitely think the Hind is easier to shoot at. Well, either way, nothing we can do about what team we're on. So we're obviously not done yet, but from all that, we already have a method that I think is better than using two RPGs, using a primary weapon. Of course, the best way to do that is with an LMG. They have a ton of ammo, and their damage doesn't drop off much at long range, two very key factors. Semi-auto sniper rifles are okay if you have one on you, but it isn't ideal. However, I want to use them right now to test something. Does stopping power's 40% increased bullet damage apply to helicopters? Well, I'll take that 2266 number I have for an estimation of the total health taking armor into account, and divide by 70 the base sniper rifle damage, and take the ceiling. So any sniper rifle should be able to take it down in 33 bullets, which is bad, but if you have stopping power, that number should theoretically drop to 24, which is more reasonable, almost 2.5 magazines of the M21 Dragunov or 50 cal. I did some testing on this, thank you to Bot Williams and Bot E for helping me. I did have stopping power on this class, and it took exactly 33 bullets to take down the helicopter. Meme busted, stopping power does not help. I saw a lot of confused people in message boards talking about their anti-helicopter classes and how they used their stopping power M60. That's wrong, all wrong. I really didn't expect there to be this much misinformation on a 9-year-old game, but I guess back then all people had were little message board discussions. Maybe some of the confusion could come from Modern Warfare 2, where stopping power Pro increased your damage against vehicles, but the regular stopping power in both games only applies to people, and obviously there are no Pro versions in CoD 4. Well, let's move on to the LMGs because I did some testing with them as well. LMGs are a much better option. The SAW dealing a flat 30 damage can take it down in 76 bullets. If stopping power worked, it would be 54. We'll factor in the SAW's 925 RPM on that 76 number, and in a perfect scenario, you should be able to kill a helicopter in only 5 seconds. But that's if you land every shot, and it's the SAW, so you're probably not going to land every shot. In fact, you may even end up needing to reload, and that would be bad. Or the helicopter might target you down, and then you have to get back into a position and all that. I just barely got this one down there in closer to 7 seconds because I used the whole mag. Now, the RPD, dealing a flat 40 damage, will kill in 57 bullets, or only 41 if stopping power worked. Combine that with the RPM, and you get about 5 seconds again, a little bit faster than the SAW though. And I tested this weapon as well, with and without stopping power. I like Overgrown for this because helicopters only shoot you if you expose more than 50% of your body, and this is a really good spot where I know the helicopter gets really low and I can hide right here. I tried to miss as little as possible. I definitely did miss, but if stopping power was working, we would notice the difference. With stopping power, I took 61 bullets based on that reload, so I did miss, or more like I kept firing for a bit after the helicopter went down. I can see that very clearly in editing, so that's looking much more like 57 than 41. Without stopping power, I took 65. Yeah, not looking like much of a significant difference here. I definitely missed again and kept firing after it was destroyed. And now with double tap, wow, it only took 27! I'm kidding, of course. I already had damage on that one. I just failed to get into my spot in time. With double tap, it took... Oh, what the fuck, Karani? That recruit level bot just took down that helicopter with an RPG? Really? Okay, I failed some more at testing double tap when I couldn't get into that spot again, but alright. With double tap, it took 63 bullets based on the reload, again, right in that range. I definitely missed a few shots after it had been destroyed. So 57 it is, definitely not 41. Stopping power does not matter, confirmed. Now, of course, if we compare the time I took from when I started shooting, double tap definitely got the job done faster. In editing, at 60 FPS, I measured from the first shot to the last shot, or when the green fuzz of the accolade appeared at the top middle of the screen. With Sleight of Hand, aka not double tap, it took 5.8 seconds, and with double tap, it took only 3.8 seconds. Guess what? That's 34% faster, and double tap increases your fire rate by 33%. Not bad at all. Guess what? We finally found a reason to use double tap. It makes no sense to use it on people when stopping power gives you more damage without the drawbacks of bad recoil and burning through your ammo, but against vehicles, double tap will help increase your DPS while stopping power will not. I'll cover the last LMG so nobody's wondering about it. The M60 fire rate is even slower, and it can deal 50 to 40 damage, so if the helicopter is far away, it'll be the same as the RPD at 40 damage. Sometimes you'll get that 50, but it isn't worth the trade-off in my mind, which is why if you want to pick an anti-air LMG, I will suggest the RPD for the lower recoil than the SAW, the higher fire rate than the M60, and that consistent 40 damage at every range. If it kills a tiny bit faster than the SAW, then there's no reason to be dealing with that crazy SAW fire rate causing you to miss a lot, and maybe even have to reload. Cool, we did a bunch of sciencey stuff. Well, here's the downside to that method. Unless you're using an LMG class all the time, then you would have to die and change to that class if you want to kill a helicopter. In some games where there are never-ending enemy helicopters, changing your class might be worthwhile, but usually you don't want to take the time out of your game to be doing that every time there's a helicopter to take down. Well then, let's create the ultimate strategy. Another important number is that the RPG Direct Impact deals 1,000 damage. And remember that the armor only works for bullet damage, so an RPG will immediately drop the helicopter to only 100 regular health. And by that, you should be able to tell why hitting it with 2 RPGs is a dumb idea. 2,000 damage is overkill when the thing has 1,100 health. So when a helicopter comes in, all you need is the RPG perk on your class. No need to have an entire dedicated double tap LMG class. Just pack the RPGs. It isn't too bad of a perk. Frag times 3 is very good, but the RPGs do provide great utility. If you don't want to risk the RPG shot right away, let the helicopter get into its first position where it hovers in one place, then fire an RPG at it. The rocket seems to fly straighter now than it did in the old game. If you miss, just try again, try to hit it one time, and then you can finish it off with anything to deal 100 damage. That's the same as a person at far range. So 5 bullets or less from anything should do it, because not counting shotguns obviously, I don't think damage drops below 20 for any gun, even pistols. 2 to 5 bullets is all it will take depending on what you use. Now, if you miss both RPG shots, what you could do is shoot at the helicopter with your main gun first to get rid of that 100 health, but if you're shooting at it first, you have to do 334 damage to get rid of that 100 health. Shooting the helicopter may also get it to kill you, and then you have your RPG ammo back. If you dealt the 334 damage, then your RPG is now going to be a one-shot kill. If not, then you just have to tap it with even less damage after hitting it with an RPG. Although, I would avoid removing all of the armor with your main gun, because then it's going to be taking evasive action, flying around, and it will be annoying to hit with an RPG. At that point, it would be better to just finish it off with a primary weapon. That sounded confusing, hopefully it made sense. Anyway, maybe from these clips you can see how easy it is to take out with a gun after hitting it with one RPG. Just a couple taps and it's gone. I did mention how shooting a helicopter might make it shoot you, and there is something to that. Factors like how far away you are from the helicopter, whether or not you attacked the helicopter, your primary weapon class, and your player score all factor into who the helicopter targets. Yes, if you have more score, you are more likely to be targeted. If you're on the bottom of the scoreboard, you are less likely to be targeted. Keep that in mind. If you're doing really well on top of the scoreboard, you might want to stay inside. And I should specify that what I mean by primary weapon class, the only thing that means is that people with shotguns as their primary weapon are less likely to be targeted. That's it. Good to keep in mind. Now, with all of that information, I have built 2 anti-helicopter classes if you want one. This one, the RPD, is for maps and situations where it would be hard to hit the helicopter with an RPG. So if I'm trying to hit a Cobra way up there in the sky, I might just want the RPD to spray at it and take it down. Or if there are never-ending enemy helicopters coming in, I'll just switch to this class. If I'm trying to hit a hind, or if it's a bit closer to the ground and I think I can hit the RPG shot, I will use this method most of the time. The shotgun reduces my chance of being targeted. I can use the RPG to take the 1,000 health off, and then I can tap it 4 times with the deagle at 30 damage at long range, or 5 times with any other pistol at 20 damage long range, and it will be dead. The M9 is also a great pistol for this class for that reason. Remember though, the point of this strategy is that you don't need a dedicated class to do it. The shotgun doesn't make you invisible to helicopters or anything. All you really need is the RPG perk, along with the knowledge that you should hit it with 1 RPG and not 2, and any other weapon and perk combination will get the job done. Nearly covered everything now. Last thing I will do is clear up a couple other misconceptions. To my knowledge, deep impact will not help in any way. You don't deal more bullet damage with it. And Sonic Boom is not here for any reason. Sonic Boom does not make the RPG a one-shot helicopter kill. It is shocking how many message boards and forums, and even the CoD Wiki again, great source of information with the 550 armor and now this, on both the page about the helicopter and the page about Sonic Boom in the trivia section, it claims that Sonic Boom will make the RPG kill a helicopter in one shot. I feel like I'm missing something here. There's no way this misinformation has sat on this wiki for 9 years and nobody has corrected it. Am I wrong here? I tested it in game with a Sonic Boom RPG. It didn't go down. I did the same thing in private match right here. it didn't go down. I had to finish it off with the deagle. I did 50 damage with the close range shot there, and then 30 damage for each long range shot. Looks to me like the RPG did indeed do exactly 1,000 damage. Now I know what you might be thinking. This wiki was for the original CoD 4. This is Modern Warfare Remastered. Maybe that was something they felt like they needed to fix and change. Well, I even went back to the original CoD 4 and tested it. Sonic Boom RPG, it didn't go down. I can't think of more conclusive evidence. Sonic Boom increases the lethal radius of explosives. It doesn't just buff the 1,000 damage by 25% like the wiki claims. So I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm wrong about this and I'm looking like an idiot because every time I'm the only one who thinks a thing, I get naturally suspicious. Like surely everybody else isn't wrong about this. But I don't know what to say. It looks to me like Sonic Boom does not change that 1,000 damage from a direct RPG hit. Sonic Boom does buff the RPG lethal radius, by the way, if you use it on people. It just doesn't change the damage against helicopters. Well, alright, that was a lot of information about countering helicopters in this game. I did say there was a lot to talk about. Hopefully you learned something out of all that. If not, well then let's take a look at what's in the Call of Duty news. Hidden loot weapons found in Modern Warfare. Well, actually, that was very predictable with the whole weapon inspect feature being there. Called that from the start. I was expecting more camos and stickers first, though. The knee-jerk reaction to this is, oh crap, they're going to ruin it. Assuming this isn't completely fake, because I haven't done my research admittedly. I don't know, dude, are they seriously gonna mess with CoD 4? You can't do that. The entire point is that it's a remaster. Don't add a shovel with shovel camos. That means everyone's gonna run around with it, smacking you with it, like what happened to Black Ops 3 with all the melee weapons. At least the sprint isn't unlimited, though. And don't add Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 weapons. I won't show the screenshots, I'll link it below. But there was a PP2K found, a Galil, a Striker, an XM-LAR, but it looked like the FAL for Modern Warfare 2. I will not waste energy being mad about this yet. If everything that is added to the game somehow remains cosmetic, no stat-changing variants, no bonuses, no different weapons, and it remains within the CoD 4 theme, meaning nothing absurd, no flashy chrome clothing, no boxing gloves, nothing that doesn't fit into the era. If they can do that, I'm fine, go for it. But, I don't know, it doesn't look like that. Unless every weapon they add behaves the exact same as a weapon already in the game. There was some gameplay video of what looked like different versions of every gun, like a different looking R700, a different looking MP5, but they were still the same gun. That would be okay with me, just a slight reskin, but that PP2000 screenshot looked like it was right out of Modern Warfare 2. If that isn't some kind of scrap left over from development and it actually represents plans for the future, how are they going to adapt a machine pistol to copy a gun already in CoD 4? How are they going to adapt a striker shotgun? I know every time I get killed by a striker in this game, even if it is the most underpowered thing ever, I will be livid because that crap shouldn't be in this game. And if they put weapons behind a luck wall like supply drops, that's the last shred of hope I had for Call of Duty gone, because this CoD 4 remaster, the one thing that seems like it has brought a community back together over a game we loved years ago, greed will have ruined it too. It will no longer be CoD 4 when you add new weapons. Surely they have to know they can't screw that up. What a disaster that would be. Please don't ruin this game and the last bit of positivity your community still has. Overreaction? Probably, but I wanted to talk about that without making a separate clickbait video on it. This has been a random news segment to wrap up the video. Thanks for watching, hope you learned a thing or two about helicopters, and I hope those leaks weren't too depressing. Don't freak out about it yet, save that for when something official happens. Anyway, I will catch you next time.